And prices are going down ever so slightly now.
Those costs are already affecting people's summer plans. Gas Buddy analyst Patrick DeHaan is joining us. Patrick, nice to have you on as always.
Thanks for having me.
Patrick, in the last couple of days, in the last week here in North and South Carolina, we've seen gas come down a few pennies, which I will take. What is that signaling? What does that tell us?
Well, there are some warning signs flashing here. We did see prices declining for the last couple of weeks simply because I think markets were overbought. Prices were too high. The fundamentals have started to improve. Supply of gasoline is going up, and that's helping to contribute to lower prices. But yesterday, a massive decline in the price of oil and gasoline, and that's going to likely lead to another chapter, a renewed decline in gas prices. Oil prices at this moment falling under $100 a barrel. In fact, we're down to about $98. That should help Charlotte's price drop accelerate. We're down about 6 cents a gallon in the last week, the average $4.45 a gallon. We're starting to see some stations in Charlotte get only 10 cents away from that sub $4 level. So more good news. The price decrease will continue for the time being.
Well, that is certainly good news for drivers. Is this something we should be cautiously optimistic about? What could change the course of the numbers right now?
Well, a lot of what we saw yesterday was likely tied to concerns over the economy slowing down. COVID cases in China have surged again. They're trying to lock down. That may be part of yesterday's sell-off. But an economic downturn or recession could be on tap, and that could limit oil consumption. That's likely behind the big fall in oil prices yesterday. So if we get any data from the government on economic activity that reverses those fears, we could see prices going back up down the road. In addition, we're entering into the peak of hurricane season in a few weeks. Of course, with it being above average hurricane season, we'll have to watch if any hurricanes disrupt the very delicate balance of supply and demand. But for now, cautiously optimistic that things will continue to improve.
Patrick, we're looking at a graphic right here that you put on your Twitter feed, and this is basically just showing the rise and the fall of gas really since COVID, starting from the end of 2019 to where we are now. Kind of explain a little bit the flow chart, if you will, that we're looking at.
Well, the complexity of it.
Yeah.
A lot of arrows kind of hacked together. A lot of people believe that politicians are in charge of gas prices, but I put together the fundamentals that are actually fueling prices. Of course, much of it was brought on by COVID. Then as the economy reopened, demand for gasoline started to go up. Then we got hit by Russia's invasion of Ukraine with oil spiking. And then as we segued into summer, demand went up, and we really saw the effects of COVID that shut down 1 million barrels a day in refining capacity. And now the latest turn here in the last few weeks is concerns over the economy that started when the Federal Reserve raised interest rates 75 basis points a few weeks ago. So it's been a bumpy ride. But all in all of this is really explained by the issues that are affecting economics behind the scenes.
Well, and a trade association referenced economics and Econ 101 when the White House over the weekend put out a tweet calling for oil companies and the companies that run stations to lower prices. But industry experts say not so fast. It doesn't work like that.
Well, this has always been the system we've had. Nothing right now is different. Stations have been faced with an incredible increase in prices. When prices are trending up, stations generally lose money. We've only seen 2 notable downturns in prices this year, back in April briefly, and right now. And so stations are lowering prices slower because that whole time when prices have been going up, stations have been about 2 to 5 days behind the curve for quite some time. And so nobody's in a rush to necessarily lower prices. Now, keep in mind, too, part of the reason is that stations themselves are cautious about lowering prices too quick, worried that the incredible volatility we've seen this year could mean that prices tomorrow could spike. So they're very hesitant to lower prices too quickly, mindful that we've seen plenty of times this year where prices have gone down only to jump back up.
What is that time window typically from what the oil gets traded at to when we actually see the price drop at the pump?
Well, yesterday's big drop in the price of oil, almost $9 a barrel, led to a wholesale drop. A drop in the wholesale price of gasoline by about 35 cents. Some stations are likely starting to pass that along today. Now, it will take a couple of weeks for that to be fully realized, that whole drop that we saw yesterday. And that's where stations kind of recoup the money they lost when prices were going up. So it'll take a few weeks to see yesterday's drop, but it will start showing up.
Patrick, we're only 4.5 months away from midterm elections. We're starting to hear whispers again of the Keystone Pipeline. We know that was one of Biden's first tasks that he did when he took office, was to shut that down. Had that stayed open, would that be affecting what we're looking at now with gas prices and production?
No, it really wouldn't. A pipeline merely carries the crude oil that's produced. It doesn't actually produce that oil. And right now, the story is just not enough oil production, exacerbated by Russia's war in Ukraine. So had we had the pipeline maybe a few years down the road, if demand had gone up, that could necessitate a pipeline. But for now, the lack of a pipeline that merely carries oil from point A to point B is not having a profound impact, not even close to the impact that we're seeing from COVID and demand and other things like economics.
With the gas crystal ball that you have, Patrick, where do you see the national average ending or it falling to or getting to by the end of the year?
I'm hopeful that we could see prices back under $4 a gallon. Now, there are some caveats to that. If we see a major hurricane that interrupts supply this summer, well, we could end up delaying that sub $4 price. So, this is kind of like aiming at a dartboard from a quarter mile away. It's really hard, but I'm going to say we're going to be sub $4 a gallon by the end of the year, maybe even lower than that.
I've got family that lives in Georgia. I know the governor there at the beginning of the month extended the gas tax holiday through the end of summer. Now, this is something that North and South Carolina that we have not been able to agree on in recent years. Do you think we might see a federal gas tax holiday, or do you think Congress is just going to push that off?
I think they're going to push that off in light of the fact that prices have already dropped more than they would have fallen from a federal gas tax. We're down about 28 cents a gallon from our peak. That eclipses the 18-cent a gallon drop we would have seen from the federal gas tax waiver. A really interesting point, though. South Carolina, without a gas tax holiday, is now cheaper than Georgia, who has the tax holiday. So, if you've been watching that, South Carolina is now the cheapest state in the nation, an average of about $4.24 a gallon.
Well, certainly tempting for a lot of people in Charlotte to drive down and fill up right across the state line. Patrick DeHaan, we appreciate your insight and your time, as always, talking gas prices. Thank you.
My pleasure.